during the electioneering campaign that I did, I think I have on record, because I had the NTA crew. I wish I had the Spectrum crew as well. They followed me, and I was able to interact with people from over 2,000 from the 2,226 villages, not wards, villages. We sat, each of the local government, we sat for over 4 hours listening to the problems from every single village in Akwa Ibom, and I have it documented. And I hope to avail it to the current government so that it could help them to know the problem. Now, when the federal government says they are sending an average of 13.5 billion to Akwa Ibom State, and then I know the problems that are there, and we see where this money is going to, and we cannot know who is benefiting from this money. It is not sent through the government, the state government, that profiles people and calls people out from every village. It will be on record that they gave us money, and yet that money is more like voicemail. And as somebody who wanted to be the governor, I said, please do not disburse this to individuals, a handful of people that are ghosts and we don't know who they are, and then the money is gone. Instead, and the second part, instead, bring this money and let us build 10 very well articulated enterprise estates in each of the federal constituencies that will train a minimum of 200 in each of those places of our young people, provide employment for thousands and thousands of our young people, so that this money will benefit primarily the young people.
Let's go to your proposal to the president. What you rather think will be a best choice, for disbursement of this palliative?
Thank you. I hope you can hear me now.
Absolutely.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, apologies for the mix-up. Okay, let's go to the proposal. In 2014, there was a global conference on affordable housing in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I was privileged to be the only African as a main speaker at that global conference. And what intrigued the world was an idea I had proposed. I called it the enterprise estate. In this estate, it has so many advantages. It is a community of about 200 studio apartments. Studio apartments are like one bedroom, apartment. You have the parlor, you have the kitchenette, you have the bedroom, and of course the conveniences. Now, at the back of that studio apartment, you have what I call a portable farm. A farm that is maybe about 20 meters by 30 meters, depending on the size of land. You also have a portable fish pond attached to it. That fish pond that can take about maybe 500 fingerlings. And then inside the house, in the parlor, you have what we call a microprocessing unit. I was able to travel to China and then to Turkey, to Germany, to US, to South Africa, so many other places looking at models of cottage industries. You'll be shocked to know that the phone you have, the shoes that you have, they are assembled by little gadgets inside the parlor. Oh God, not again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can hear you.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. I thought I was off. Inside the parlor of people. Now, what we do is that we are able to take about 200 young people who occupy each of those units. Why young people? Number one is that I designed a program that will benefit the young people. It was very deliberate. That's why we have one bedroom. And to avoid social problems, we don't want a family of 5 of adults cramping into one bedroom. We want young people who are either not married or newly married and just having a little child. That young person does not need to have any skills, any abilities, anything outside of the fact that the person is strong enough to be able to walk, and in the village there are so many of them, and can do basic read and write. That is all. We bring that person into that estate, and we have 200 of it. Then we have what we call the enterprise estate operator. Okay, that enterprise, we call the estate the enterprise estate because it has, some enterprise components. So bottom line is that at the end, you have about 200 young people who came in without any skills, without any abilities, being trained for a period of 1 to 2 years. So it is accommodation, it is a school of some sort, it's a training ground. At the end of 1 to 2 years, you know how to breed fish, you know how to use the microprocessing unit, you know how to raise something like tomatoes, depending on what they give you, and you can now become an extension of that enterprise estate in your village, where you can go back and use the farm that you have. Now, at that point, the Bank of Commerce and Industry would have had you as, the industrialization champions. They will be able to give you loan. It's a very well articulated program, extremely so. It excited the world to use as a model for, developing countries, including the developed countries, because the issue of youth unemployment is becoming global in a sense. So it is one of the reasons I really, really, really pray to God to make me a governor, because you see, some of these issues are good, you articulate them as policies, and unless there is an implementation, it remains a proposal. So I was believing God that I'll be able to become a governor and then establish an enterprise estate in each of the 31 local government areas. When you do that, number one, imagine 200 fish ponds doing 500 fingerlings per cycle, and you multiply that by 31. You are saying 200 times 31 times 500 fingerlings per cycle. Akwa Ibom will become there will be an alternate economy. So when we talk in terms of industrialization, sometimes we look for all these big industries, and those things don't work. They don't create jobs. Look at what I've just said. Simple model, and guess the cost per model? Just a little over $1 billion. Which means if my state brings out 50 billion, which is next to nothing compared to what we make, we will be able to establish this in each of the 31 local government areas of our state, employ our people massively, create
but
an
architect, don't you
economy.
think?
Yes.
Architect, don't you think that the surge on the current living cost will impact on your project estimates? Because these are just estimations, and the living cost is constantly rising.
Yes. I'm not just an architect. I'm an architect that is building, and I own the most beautiful estate in Uyo, if I may say so myself, that constructions are ongoing. So I am current with my costs. Absolutely current. And the good news I want to tell Akwa Ibom people is that while this is a reaction to a national discourse, at the state level, I am privileged to enjoy a very robust relationship with our current governor, to the extent that people think that, I am working for him, and they don't understand why I'm still in the tribunal. We are very mature people, where we can do what we are doing, agree to disagree without fighting or insulting one another. So with that relationship, while he's still in office, I will be able to discuss this with him. And if I know who he is, I can tell you that while the federal government is looking at the issue, Akwa Ibom State will likely be the very first state to start this model and will become a trailblazer in Africa, because we have, in my opinion, a governor on the seat that is listening and willing to take any idea from anyone that will advance the good of the state.
Okay, architect, let's come down to the nitty-gritties of the proposals you're making. All of it borders on agricultural development, and we know that as far as the RISE agenda of the present governor is concerned, is also agri-driven economy and seeks to get the young people back to the area of taking serious the matters concerning agriculture. Now, do you think the young people in Akwa Ibom State will be willing to key into this? And I'm asking that question because there are conversations bordering on just getting the 8,000 naira and going your way, as against, going through the rigorous process of getting trained, taking a longer year, and particularly with the Japa syndrome and the hammering syndrome in Nigeria relating to the young people.
I'll tell you two things. Number one is that we are largely out of touch with the reality on ground in Akwa Ibom State. Very largely out of touch. I'll give you an example. I would like to make some of the tapes available to Spectrum and possibly serialize it, and people will be shocked as what is going on. I come into politics. I don't do politics of go around campaign, throw money around. When you become governor, what do? I do politics of looking at the needs of the people and how to proffer solutions to the needs of the people. Why am I saying this? My guy, I will send you a tape where a man says that in his village, graduates have gone to learn how to adibridion. Graduates, ubridion. I mean, these are things that we can't even as much as imagine in my own generation, not about your own generation. And yet, what was so archaic, anachronistic, mundane has become what some young people who have gone to school are going back out of what? Frustration. Number two, a young man, a graduate, wakes up at night, climbs a palm tree, harvests the palm tree, carries it on his head, and comes down. I'm going to wake up. Now, such a person who has been so dehumanized, demoralized, dejected, rejected, you call him and give him a one-bedroom studio apartment. You give him skills on how he can do. And the beautiful thing is that when you cultivate the fish or the tomatoes or the enterprise, you sell them back to the enterprise center operator, who will, one, remove his cost of input that he gave you, maybe the seedlings and this and that, and the differential comes to you. And by our calculation, you will be able to make a minimum of 30 to 40,000 naira every month from the differentials between the sales cost and the input that was given to you. This is a fantastic idea. So imagine a young man that was hopeless, being given a decent accommodation, being trained, and making money during the process. And at the end of the day, we network with the Bank of Industry to give him a loan to become an extension of this enterprise. And you are asking, will he be interested? And there's what indeed.
Architect, we must say, first of all, that this is, this open letter is such a brilliant idea, and Akwa Ibomites must have you to thank for that. Because, in the overall, we are looking at someone helping us to think at how best we can deploy our 13.5 billion that will be given to Akwa Ibom as palliative. And this proposal that you sent to the president is meant to give us enough shoot of 10 thriving industries. So you're not just addressing agriculture, you're also looking at housing, you're looking at empowering of the youths and all of that. So there's a ripple effect of different things, and this is absolutely brilliant. If the president takes it, and if the governor of Akwa Ibom State and the people of Akwa Ibom State think that this is the best way to adjudicate their monies. But so let's go to the clause that people will be asking.
Yes.
How can we tell that if we buy this initiative, we will not have people at the upper echelon of governance also swindle the vulnerable people of this 13.5 million? You're saying don't give it to individuals, give it to a certain group of technocrats to manage on behalf of the people. How do we know that these monies won't get lost in the pipe?
Fantastic, fantastic question. Let me tell you something. I want to tell you this, that it is one of the easiest thing to do, one of the easiest things to do in Akwa Ibom in particular is for you to do things properly. It takes a governor who makes one statement, if I perish, I perish. That statement means whether I get second term and I don't get second term is none of my business. But this first term where I get to, forget it. I am going to do the right thing. If you like, no, give me second term. Once you have that mindset to do the right thing, everybody will follow you. I can tell you that for free. The biggest, I've been privileged to be close to virtually over 60% of governors in Nigeria from 1999. When I say close, I mean a real close relationship where I'm part of the kitchen cabinet of this government. The relationship I've had with people like Mr. Donald Duke while he was in office, people like Dr. Mimiko when he was in office, people like Mr. Odwahan when he was in office, people like El Rufai. These are people that I have one-on-one relationship with till today. Well, that of El Rufai is more like business. But talk of people like Odwahan or the immediate past governor of Delta State, Okowa, or Donald Duke, or Mimiko. These are, why am I trying to bring this up? These people are constantly hounded by, hey, if you don't do this, we will not give you second term. If you don't do this, we will not vote for you. If you don't, so they take the people captive. Not to talk of people like my brother Akpabi. I was extremely close to him. Our immediate past governor, I didn't have such a robust relationship with him, Mr. Udom, but from time to time we sat and talked. And these people are frustrated by politicians who threaten them no end. If you don't do this, and they don't threaten them to do the right thing, they threaten them for them to abuse processes and privileges so that they will make more money, and they don't care about the poor. They couldn't care less about the poor. Every single time you hear them talk down on Nya Etok, and Nya Etok is a serial this, Nya Etok is, and you join. You don't know that you are the one that is killing yourself, because these guys are scared stiff of Nya Etok coming, because they know how to do the right thing. So our governor just needs to say, look, let the right thing be done. The moment he says that, if I perish, I perish. If I get a second term, good. If I don't get, I would have written my names on the sands of time with letters of gold that I did this. So the money cannot go except the governor wants it to go. If the governor doesn't want it to go, nobody can touch that money.
Okay, now just look at your conclusion, Akita, before we let you go, because we know your schedule is very hectic this morning. You said while other states would have had, at the end of the day, their 13.5 billion naira down the drain, if any of these advice you're giving and putting forward is being accepted by the presidency and, of course, implemented and accepted and implemented in Akwa Ibom State, we would have had a lot of young people, not just taken off the street, but people who are able to also, in time, employ others. And these can, be recycled for a period of 15 to 20 years to still have an aftermath effect. I'd like to get your last advice, probably to the youths and the government of Akwa Ibom State, of course, reiterating your stand to the presidency.
And I also like to add, architect, to Nigerians at large, because Nigerians are expecting this palliative. If you have thought of this for Akwa Ibom State, if other people could interpret it, in their states, how much of an impact will this have on Nigerians at this time? So we go beyond 13.5 billion naira for Akwa Ibom, and we are looking at holistically the 500 billion naira palliative for Nigeria.
Yeah. Two things. The very first is that hope is the anchor that stabilizes the soul. The young people particularly have gone through hell, but the last thing they can ever do to themselves is to lose hope. Keep hope alive. When you see me always, there, and people think blah, blah, is because I've decided that till the day I breathe my last, I will continue to hope that things will be done right in this country. That's number one. Number two, I belong to over 250 WhatsApp groups from all over this country. Not too long ago, the 19 states of the northern Nigeria, the youths gave me Udman Danfodio's platinum award. That's how much I cut across. And why do I say this? The responses that I've got on this project is phenomenal. It's almost unprecedented. Everywhere they are saying, come and do it in our state. We don't care about the government palliative. We want the governor to do it. Whether the federal agrees or not, we want this scheme in our state. And they are asking, some of you are on the WhatsApp group and you get the comments. Over 98% of the comments are commendation. Of course, once in a while, somebody will come and say, rubbish, nonsense, get out. What do you mean? What do you want? You want contract? You want this? Anyway, but then, and incidentally, those were also taken up by other people who are like, did you read this thing at all? Are you okay? Did you drink something? Panadol or whatever tramadol is affecting you. The bottom line is, I believe that we have a governor on seat right now that is very forward-looking and very accommodating and works across the aisle. He was able to accept a company I brought from Germany for cooking stove. That's another thing I'm doing, and it's about rural areas, rural people. I'm like, in fact, I think they should start calling me Nya Etok says he's the village boy. I think I'm the real village boy, okay? And then you may be the rural man, because I'm really passionate about people's suffering in the rural areas. That's what I went through, and I want to be able to better their lives. So bottom line is, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for taking this up, and let's keep the communication going. And anything, anytime, I would appreciate. It's only this station that would make me to take this morning at the risk of missing my flight because I'm running somewhere. But thank you for the privilege. I appreciate it. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Architect.